Hello, everybody. This is a man who was raised in Mitchell, Indiana. Gus Grissom, first name Virgil. He was on Gemini. He was a man on the moon. This is a flight suit of his. I was lucky just to be there today to actually get photographs of that and other artifacts. That was actually his, that he actually wore. Not only did I get to touch this and photograph it, I was able to be around it. Another photographer, I do not have his name, is in the background, and I thank him for sharing this with me today. This is Virgil Grissom's actual NASA badge. I was allowed to hold and touch it today. These are my hands. This is one of the biggest honors I've ever had. I've always looked up to this man. I have to admit, I was in tears. This, encased in glass, was his suit that he honestly wore, and it was on the moon. It is encased in glass, not just so people can't touch it, but because it was in space. There are things there that we could not survive. His gloves, actually, these are imprints. These are, well, I don't know if these are his actual ones. Some people say they are, some people say they're not. But they are also encased in glass, and that is metal that they are on. In the corner on the right, it is actually encased, is a sandwich that one of the other astronauts snuck on board and offered to Grissom after they had lifted off and got into space. As you see, no one ate it when they brought it back. Of course, it's contaminated and it is sealed up, and I could not get close enough to adequately photograph. It is in there. No one can touch it. It's totally safe to be looked at, but as you see, it makes for a very interesting thing to talk about. And that is a hat that was also gifted to Gus Grissom. This is a picture of him and some of the other astronauts. Of course, this is an iconic picture. This is the real thing. There's the door. There's where they were. And that's not as big as you think it is. I thought that thing would be huge, but it is the real capsule. And yeah, the door does pop off. It is off. Yes, it's encased. You can't get near it, but yeah, you would think that thing is a lot bigger than what it actually is. It's not as big as you think. It was hard to get a picture of the inside. To the left there are a lot of, I guess they know how to read them. It tells you right, left, where you're at, everything. The little bebobs and doads that went crazy, I guess, as they were entering back in. There is space for them in there, but that's very tight. I wouldn't want to be in there. I don't know what they all mean, but there are a lot of little gadgets. I don't know some of them how they seen them. And yes, it would take a lot of training to do it. It would have to. And I guess they seatbelt them in tight, but frankly, seatbelt them in tight. It's tight in there the way it is. Here's another picture of another end. And yes, that's the end that they hooked onto, getting them out of there. You'll see further on how I know. But you can see the hook at the end where they got them out. Some of the, only three of the things blew. The rest of them are still intact, still there. But yeah, only three of the things did blow. One blew when it wasn't supposed to. Everybody knows the story. And there is one of the, I guess they call them little windshields, where they can see out. The other sort of catty-cornered toward the right there. It's amazing. Here's the door. The door from the side that came off. I guess that's how they get them out. Here are the three things from the inside. This is the end that entered the atmosphere first. Toward the left, it looks to me like part of that could almost burned away. I could be wrong, but look at that. How that just, the atmosphere just like marred that. There are his medals. I didn't know when they gave them to you that they gave them to you in a set like that, but they're beautiful. And that's where he was on Apollo 1. You know, everybody thanks everybody for doing so much, but you never hear him mention the astronauts. That's his hat. That's one of his Air Force badges. The one to the left is the Gemini badge. That's them, I guess, putting it all together. I guess sending her up. They said this hat was one that he wore, and there's marks in there where he made from all the missions he had done. But they didn't tell us how many there were. I guess all we can say is thank you to all them astronauts, so we wouldn't know what we know today.